don't you act like a Hoffman and go get to dustin'. Yeah, latex on my drawers. Bitch, go clean my crown. Can't hear my haters from way up here. They don't make a sound. Body goes on these hoes. White paint on my toes. When I send a new bay alert, niggas gon' be mad. Jumping in the bed, then I switch to the ghost like who's you? Remember this face, cause I'm that bitch you gon' lose to. Dripping in.
Hi fairies and welcome back to my channel. It's me, Laresia Andrea, and I'm finally giving you guys what you have been waiting for, and that is the colorful quick weave tutorial. So I'm doing per usual, I'm just showing you guys what dyes I'm using in the beginning of the video. I ended up using 2 Arctic Fox dyes and Girls Night and Purple Rain and 1 Ion Color Brilliant dye in the color Lavender. Now if you guys see like some type of white in the bowl when I'm mixing these two together, that is just regular white conditioner. It's no specific brand. You can just use any brand as long as it is a white conditioner. And I'm just putting a little bit of the Girls Night in and not too much of the Purple Rain. I ended up messing up because you guys see that it was a little bit too dark, so I went ahead with some more conditioner. That's why it's lightened up again. And then I also put a little bit of the Lavender from the Ion brand in it as well, because I want a little bit more of a blue tone to my lavender shade. So I decided to do a shadow root for my lace frontal. I wanted more so like a ombre type of color, but I wanted it to be like a bluish purple shadow root on the roots of the lace frontal. So I'm just putting, as I know I just kind of went ham when I took that gulp of that color, but I'm just putting the purple color onto the lace frontal, not really bringing it all the way down because like I said, I want more of a shadow root, but I want this purple to be really saturated into the frontal. This is a frontal from Ywigs per use. It is a 18-inch frontal, and I also ended up using 2 18-inch bundles from them. I was going to do a completely different hairstyle. I ended up doing a bob. You guys can definitely just do 2 bundles of 10-inch and probably 1 bundle of 12-inch for the frontal. You don't need to do long lengths, but you know, you guys know I'm always changing my mind. Now you guys see that I am showing you guys a little bit of the shedding that I got from the frontal. It is nothing super extreme. It's probably that little bit of shedding and a little bit more, but it's nothing super crazy. So I ended up putting the purple mixture onto the frontal in one direction, and I like to go in the opposite direction. So you guys just see me just going the opposite way and just putting the dye on that way, because that just makes sure that I have all the dye onto the frontal, because sometimes I do miss a few spots when I go in one direction. So I just like to go in the opposite just to make sure that the color is really saturated into the frontal. Then when you have put all the color mixture onto the frontal, you want to let it sit for about an hour. This is my first time working with Arctic Fox dyes onto the lace frontal. I have used their dye before. I used their Cosmic Sunshine, which is their yellow. I did use that dye before, but I didn't put it on the roots. I did another color on the roots, but this is the first time I used the Arctic Fox dyes on the roots of the lace frontal. And I just wanted to show you guys that it did not stain the frontal at all, which is really good because I only had 1 frontal from Ywigs with this one when it came to it. So thank God I did not ruin it. And you guys can see that I left the ends of the hair bare, which is that pale blonde that the hair comes in. I'm going to now move on to my watercolor. Now I did switch up my style a little bit later on, but I didn't show it in the video. But I think that it's easier to put the dye into the bowl first and then put the hot water on top of that, just so that it's easier to mix up. The Arctic Fox dyes are a little bit more thicker in consistency than any other dyes I've tried. So when it comes to doing a watercolor, I would recommend that you put the dye in the bowl first and then move on to letting the hot water rinse onto the dye. So I ended up doing what was left of the lavender from the Ion color, and then I did a little bit of the Girls Night from the Arctic Fox into the mixture to have it more like a blue, like a blurple lavender tone. You guys have seen me do a watercolor before. If you guys did not see my rose gold and ginger hair color tutorial, I did do a watercolor then, but if you guys did not see it, this is kind of what I do. I just put the mixture of color into the bowl and swirl my bundles around so that the hair is sticking to the color, and we now get a easy do-it-yourself watercolored bundle. So I did the same thing to all the other bundles. I don't really think it was any point in showing you guys because I did so much filming in 3 days. This was 3 days worth of filming. So I did so much filming that some things are not really that necessary to show you in video. I tried to condense this video down as much as possible, guys. Like I really did. I know it's 29 minutes, but like I said, this is 3 days worth of filming, like hours and hours and hours of filming. I tried my best. I really did. So I let the bundles and the frontal sit in my after color sealer from Ion, which is just a conditioner, and then I rinsed it out. You guys saw that the color still was not bleeding. Woot woot. Now moving on to my natural hair, and we are moving on to doing the actual liquid cap. So I did use some of my Hawaiian Silk leave-in conditioner to put in my hair because I wanted to make sure that my hair is still being conditioned while it is under this quick weave. So I'm parting it down the middle because I thought that I wanted to do a middle part, and you guys already know I'm always changing my mind. That's the problem with me. It's a good thing and a bad thing. But I ended up changing my mind. I decided to do a side part later on, but it really doesn't matter as long as your hair is in a low ponytail. That is just what's going to work. So I'm just combing it out, making sure there's no knots or kinks in my hair. Now moving on to doing my molding gel. This is from Salon Pro, 30 seconds. This is just their specific molding gel. I like to use primarily all the products from the same line because they are meant to work the same. So I'm just using this to mold down my hair into the ponytail, and then I will let that dry with my blow dryer for about 10 minutes. I find that it's so much easier to use a comb when applying the gel because my nails are so long. So if you guys have long, extremely obnoxious nails like how I do, using a comb to apply the gel is just so less messy in your nails.
Let go. Yeah. Don't know. Oh yeah.
It's the original Batman.
One time. It's a Batman thing. It's body, baby. VQs. Let's go.
VQs.
I'ma make you bounce like a hurricane. I'ma make your bed rock like a hurricane. I'ma do it like nobody can. And I'll give you all the things that nobody can. I'ma make you bounce like a hurricane. I'ma make your bed.
Now we're moving on to the actual liquid cap. This is the black version. They do have a clear version, but I like to use a black version. Sometimes, I don't know why, it's a little bit better. But it does have argan oil in it, so it is conditioning to your hair while your hair is sitting in the liquid cap for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however long you like to wear your liquid caps. It's going to still be conditioning and moisturizing your hair, so do not worry about that. But they do have an anti-itch serum. If you guys do feel a little bit of itchiness in your scalp, they do have that you're going to apply on your scalp while it's underneath the liquid cap. So I find it so much easier to put the actual liquid consistency onto my head first and then smooth it out, then to put it on the brush and then put it on the hair and then all that. And I also find that it dries so much faster. This process that I did with my liquid cap was so much faster and easier than I've done in my previous videos. I literally had to go back in time and watch my old liquid cap quick weave videos because that's how long it's been since I've done this. But I did figure out a way to make the liquid caps last so much longer, and I will show you guys that later on. But now I'm moving on to doing the whole bald cap method. You guys have seen this all over YouTube. My way is no different than others. Maybe it is, but I did use a different products. But I'm just putting on the cap using my Got to Be Glued freeze spray. You guys know I love to use this to tack down my lace frontals, but I also have to use it to hold down my wig cap. So I just find it that it's just so less messy if you use the spray instead of the actual Got to Be gel. When you're sweating, if it's hot, any type of moisture that gets onto that gel, it is a no-go. So I just find that the spray is just so less messy and so much easier. Now, here is the Bold Hold Cream. I know I said I was putting this away, but I do actually like to use this to hold down the ear part of my cap weave, my wig cap. I know that it's so hard to actually have this part stick down. If you guys have ever tried the bald head, why can I not talk? If you guys have ever tried the bald cap method, you will know that on the sides by the ear part, that always sticks up because it's so hard for whether you're using Got2b spray or Got2b gel, it's so hard for that part to stick down. So I like to actually use the bold hold cream to hold those sides down, and I do find that this works tremendously. If the bold hold don't work for nothing else for me, it works for holding down my sides by my ear. So I just let that dry, and then now I'm moving on to just cutting around, and you guys can see that it is nice and flat on my sides and that it's not moving. The back doesn't really matter, but I just want to make sure that the top is all nice and flat, and I do go in and kind of cut around some areas where it was a little bit more excess wig cap, and yeah.
1, 2, I put it on you. Everything I do,
it's feet kills.
Get it on you. Love the way you want, yeah, put it on me. Don't know. Little bad man on the instrument. I give it them one time. Baby, yeah.
So now moving on, I did go ahead off camera, put on some foundation on my wig cap and also on my lace frontal, and you guys can see that I did put an elastic band on my frontal. I do have a specific video out on my channel of how I sew down my elastic bands onto my frontal. It is the same exact method. It is nothing different. I was going to do a separate video on this, but it is literally the same technique. All I did was just line it up with these sides, and the only difference is it's just not on a wig. It's just specifically on a frontal. So you guys already know why I like to use my elastic bands. It just makes it so that the top of the hair does not move. It is nice and secure. The only thing that is not secure are the sides, but I just use my Got2b spray to lay those down. But the elastic band just makes it so that the lace frontal is nice and secure on my head, and I don't need any excess adhesive to lay it down. So I'm just parting it down the middle and braiding down the side so that the hair is not in the way. And I will also show you guys why I like to use the elastic band in the back, because when you lay down your tracks with the glue, before I would tell you guys that you could only wear the liquid cap for about up to 2 weeks because of the humidity, the sweat, and all that. After a while, it would kind of get disgusting in the back of your head and on the top of your head from your Got2b gel on your lace frontal. But we are not using gel anymore, and we are using the elastic band to play as a scapegoat, basically, for the glue not touching the back of our nape, so that we can wear our liquid cap so much longer. So I'm just using some spritz to spray onto the wig cap so that the glue can stick to it, and I'm just using some 30-second glue. I didn't show it in the video, but I'm just using some hair glue to put on the tracks. I did line up my tracks with the back of my nape. It is all the same that I always do in all my videos. Just line up your tracks, cut it, measure it, and then put the glue on, and then put it in the same direction of how you lined it up. You guys can see that I am putting the tracks onto elastic band. So when you sweat, or if there's any hotness, any humid, anything, it is not getting on your hair, and it is not getting on your skin, and it is not messing up your whole entire construction that we worked so hard to do. So I'm just putting on some glue. This is the glue that I actually am using, but I'm just putting some glue down to lay my lace frontal down in the back so that I can line up my tracks to basically just have it all lay down flat. And I also did on the top part, I laid that down with some glue as well. I didn't show it on camera, but I did use some glue to lay down the top part that is standing up of my lace frontal as well.
Original bad man, his body baby,
It's feet kills.
Standard. Catching that vibe, me and my guys, we are feeling alright, feeling the groove, dancing like we ain't got nothing to lose.
So once all the tracks are in and on, now I'm just going to go ahead to cutting off the side ear parts of my lace frontal. You guys know it's the same thing every single time. Literally, it is the same thing every time in all my videos. I just pretty much line up where my ear is with the lace frontal and just go ahead and guide it and cut it to the shape of my ear folds.
They don't want to feel, they just want to talk. Take the raw head, okay. If you play my music, if you get my CD, make to hate me when you see me. They want to know. Tobari me in the street, to my say, will you make them? They got to go. Tobari me in the bed, to my calm down. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wọ́n fẹ́ já mi láyà, wọ́n fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ méjì. But my music fire, it dey drive them crazy. I want tèmi wọ́n gbọ́ mi. For my city, for my hood, them know. See my people, them hail me. If they hating on me, make the carry go. For me radio, every day they play me for me radio. Then they feel me anytime they see me on the video.
So once you have cut off your earfolds, now we're going to move on to cutting the hair into a bob. Like I said, I did use 2 bundles of 18-inch and 1 bundle of 18-inch frontal. But you guys can definitely just go ahead and use shorter lengths and not change your mind as often as I do. So I'm actually going to be showing you guys 2 options of how you can cut your hair into a bob. And first, I'm just using my wand color. This is a silicone wand color that I got from Sally Beauty. And I just like to use that to lay down my frontal. And then I'm moving on to cutting the ends of the hair because we do not use that because our bob is not going to be that long. So the first option is just freehanding the whole entire bob process. If you're more in the intermediate inexperienced level, this is nothing new to you. You just know that you just pretty much eye the shape of how you want your hair, and you're just pretty much just cutting it into the shape of what you want. There is no measurements, there is no direction, there is no anything. And then once you've pretty much got your shape, you're just going to go in with your razor and just thin out your hair with the razor. The option 1 is definitely not for a beginner. It is not beginner friendly in any way, shape, or form, but this is kind of 2 options that I'm giving you guys. As I said, one option is just eyeballing it, and the other option is actually shaping it.
One time, sports baby. Lego. Passing the prime.
So this is option 2. And this is actually how I used to cut my bobs when I did not know how to make bobs at all. This is when I first started out with doing quick weaves and knowing how to cut hair and knowing all of that. And that is just using the ponytail method. So you pretty much just leave out the sides because those sides are going to have longer, and just put the back of the hair into a ponytail. You never want to cut down. You always want to cut up, because cutting up just creates that shape for you that you want. You always want like a layered kind of bob. So when you cut upwards, it pretty much just does all the layering for you. So just make sure that you are cutting backwards so that you have the shape down. And then when you pretty much got to a certain point, you can just kind of turn the hair over and then cut the rest of it off. But you guys can see that this literally does the work for you. It creates the layers, it creates the depth, it creates all of that. Obviously you have to go in and, you know, clean up the back a little bit, but pretty much the ponytail method creates the layers and creates and shapes a bob for you. Now I'm going in and cutting some more layers onto the bang part because I do want a side long swoop bang. So I'm doing some more cutting in this clip, but pretty much that is the entire shaping side of it. I'm going ahead with my razor comb a little bit more and razoring and thinning out the hair, but that is pretty much it for my options, guys. You guys can see that my bob is looking on fleek. I did go ahead and blow dry it off camera. I blow dried it straight, but you could definitely leave it just like this. But you know, if you're trying to look appropriate, you might want to straighten your hair. Now we're moving on to the makeup portion of the video. Now I was not going to put this makeup tutorial in the video, but I just decided to do it anyway because it kind of is all over the place, but I would try my best to explain. So the 2 eyeshadow palettes, actually 3 eyeshadow palettes that I use, 2 are from Hush.com and then 1 is from Juvias Place, which are all very affordable. They're in the $10 to $12 range, I believe. Don't quote me, but I know Juvias Place is definitely affordable. I do specifically point out the shades that I use from all 3 palettes, but from the Juvias Zulu palettes. I do show you guys a problem that I kind of had when I was making the video. You guys can see this very beautiful purple royal shade. When I dipped it into my brush and tried to put it onto my lid, nothing was coming out, and I was like, what the hiznai? So I did take my jumbo NYX pencil in the color Black Bean, and I did put that down as a base. I pretty much learned this trick over the years of doing makeup. Sometimes when darker shades do not pop up on the eye, you kind of have to use a base, primarily a darker base when it comes to like more of the purples, the greens, and the blue colors, for them to pop more on darker skin tone. So now I'm putting on the same shade with my brush. You guys can see that color is now popping out of my eye. So that is a little mini trick that I wanted to tell you guys, because when you do have problems with that, sometimes it is not the eyeshadow, it is just the base that you use. So now I'm using that very beautiful pinky shade right next to it just to blend out that purple. And I don't know what happened to my clip, but I didn't know what happened with my blue shade that I used from that palette, but I did end up going in with the blue shade. And then moving on to a glitter I got from another online affordable brand. I will leave everything down below. This is what I'm talking about with everything. It's like kind of all over the place, but you guys can pretty much get the gist of how I did this whole eyeshadow look. The face part is not as complicated. It's pretty much self-explanatory, but the eye part, I kind of had to explain that whole purple shade part, because if I didn't, you guys would be like, what the hell is going on right now? So this part is pretty much self-explanatory, the face, the eyes, and all that. I'm gonna let you guys jam to some Afro beat, and then we will come back when we are finishing off the hair.
So whine it for me, girl, say she whine it for me, think so. Move your body for me, think and whine it for me, think so. Come to sing so, whine it for me, think so. I not bad man and they want to say. She not bad man, they want to fail.
Thunder, or you can't call me a bonfire. Better than you, me a spitfire. Nobody says we are on dire, we are on dire.
It's V-Kills.
Original Batman.
Standard.
No. Original. Original Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
Original
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
She said no.
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
She said
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
Original Batman.
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
Body nice. See, I got them here, them are moving right. See the girls, them a got me hypnotized. Them a make a bad man feel alright. Yeah. Man, I tell her when she go low, say you gonna get me when I'm on low. Man, I tell her when she go low, bad man, I put you in a photo. Count down, she a put me on a rundown. Go down, she a give me on a low now. Go now, anywhere you wanna go now. Bad man, me a put you on a first class.
no.
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
She said
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
So baby, what you gonna do? Calling all your friends when they come through. So you give me your number one I control. So you really meant for the girls when they come through. Come through. Bad man, say she want, say she really want, she try to really want. Calm down, take it slow. Say the girl, them a coming at me yard, them a give me low. If you tripping, let me know what you really want. Is it riding with me or you really dirt? Them a girls, them a tell me that you really not. Make up your mind, let me know if you really got.
no.
In a Batman, mash up the place. In a Batman, mash up the place.
She said
In a Batman, mash up the place. 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 Batman, turn up the vibe. Batman, turn up the vibe.
Original
Batman, turn up the vibe. Batman, turn up the vibe. Batman, turn up the vibe. Batman, turn up the
It's
vibe.
V-Kills.
Batman, turn up the vibe. Batman, turn up the vibe.
You don't know. Bad man. Yeah. This body, baby, oh. body, baby, oh. Yeah, yeah. It's a bad man thing, yeah, yeah. Bad girl make you wine to the bass, nah, nah. Give me that thing where I go feel it, nah, nah. The way you back it up, the way you bust in the place, nah, nah, nah. Steady on time, yeah, don't be late, nah, nah. Said I'm in love with you, and I'ma give you anything you want, and I'ma give you anything you need. Bad man here, wine I'm through. Said I'm in love with you, and I'ma give you anything you want, and I'ma give you anything you need. Bad man here, wine I'm through the beat. Damn me low, tell me what you want to know. Me I no go lose control. Bad man I feel your flow, wine I'm slow. This one no be private show. Tell me low, tell me what you want to know. I go give you all and more. Bad man I feel your flow.
So guys, like I said, I did go off camera and blow dry the hair. So you guys might see like there's like some tracks in my lace frontal. That was definitely my fault because I really got scissor happy and cut too much of my frontal off. So I had to go in and kind of glue some tracks to put on my frontal part. You guys could definitely skip this part because that was my fault. I don't even know. I sometimes get scissor happy, but don't mind that part. That was totally me. So just ignore that part. So I did go ahead and lay down my frontal. I do show you guys how I did on the other side. Just taking my Got To Be Free spray, letting it blow dry a little bit, and then tacking it down. This way, I just feel like it's the best way. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's so much easier, so much quicker. The spray dries literally in seconds, and I pretty much just have my whole frontal laid down in like the matter of 5 minutes compared to like 30.
Wine I'm slow. This one no be private show. You don't know. VQ's bad man point instrumental, giving them one time. It's okay. Bad man go take you there. Pull up.
Then I'm just going ahead with my hot comb and just running that through the hair before I flat iron it. I don't know why I like to do this now, but I just do. I just think that it makes the hair so much softer and silkier. I'm laying down that frontal, honey. I'm not doing extreme baby hairs. I probably only do like one swoop in the front of the hair. And then I also end up cleaning up the back of the hair. As well, I did end up going in and put a track because I felt like it was a negative space back there. And yeah, I'm just straightening it with the hot comb. I'm just flat ironing it. I'm making sure everything is laid down, everything is hidden. So you guys saw that I just went ahead with some tracks and I did fill in that space. I'm flat ironing it. I'm making sure that this is nice and fleeky, and I will come back when I am all dressed and ready to go.
And I go ginger you. I know that you're feeling me, and I be feeling you. Oh, baby, make you ginger me. And I go ginger you. I know that you're feeling me, and I be feeling you. Girls, them a random. Me I fit to turn them down. Anywhere we go, see them be hating now. She carry you, her body amazing, oh. My baby, oh. I go love you forever, oh. Girl, for your body, I'ma risk it. I'ma risk it. Chop your body, girl, like a biscuit. Like a biscuit. Oh yeah, dark she jeje. No they do me, she get. You wanna come move fair. Now you I want to. Body smoking like a cigarette. Oh, baby, I can smoke it all. Say now you I want to see.
So I hope you guys like my purple royalty liquid cap quick weave colored into a lavender color with some fleeky ass makeup. And yes, I am wearing a Taco Bell hoodie. Don't come for me. I thought this was super fly. Yes, it's kind of fat, but you know, it was cute and it matched my whole entire look. So whatever, guys, don't come for me. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. I know the makeup part was kind of all over the place, but you know, the makeup part isn't really like, you know, like a tutorial. I just put it in there because you guys always like when I do my makeup for my whole hair looks. So yeah, I hope you guys like everything. I'm so happy with the ending results. I was kind of skeptical at first, but we made it work. I love you guys and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye guys.